Nouwat. Even the name sends shivers down my spine. It sounds harmless enough, almost melodic. But behind the facade of serenity hid a darkness I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. From the outside, Nouwat probably looked like a utopian community. We lived on a self-sustaining farm, wore simple clothes, and espoused peace and harmony. But it was all a carefully constructed illusion. The reality was far more sinister. Our lives were governed by a complex web of rules and regulations, all designed to control us. Every aspect of our existence, from the food we ate to the thoughts we thought, was dictated by the cult's enigmatic leader, known only as the Shepherd. We were taught that the Shepherd was a divine being, chosen to guide us to enlightenment. His word was law, and anyone who dared question his authority was swiftly dealt with. I was born into Nouwat. My earliest memories are of toiling in the fields, attending mandatory prayer sessions, and listening to the Shepherd's pronouncements with a mixture of awe and terror. Nouwat's control over its members was absolute and insidious. They were masters of manipulation, using a potent blend of fear, guilt, and indoctrination to keep us in line. We were constantly bombarded with propaganda that reinforced the Shepherd's authority and painted the outside world as a dangerous, corrupt place. Dissent was met with swift and brutal punishment. Public humiliation, sleep deprivation, and even physical violence were common tactics used to silence those who dared question the Shepherd's teachings. Fear became our constant companion. Fear of the Shepherd's wrath, fear of the outside world, and fear of even our own thoughts. Life in Nouwat was one of constant toil and drudgery. Days blurred into an endless cycle of work, prayer, and indoctrination. We were forbidden from having any personal possessions, and our relationships with each other were strictly monitored. Every waking moment was accounted for, leaving no time for personal reflection or growth. The physical labor was grueling, but it was the emotional and psychological manipulation that truly broke us. We were constantly made to feel inadequate, our self-worth eroded by a steady stream of criticism and self-doubt. Section 4. Cracks in the facade. Seeds of doubt and discovery. For years I accepted my life in Nouwat as my inevitable fate. But deep down, a tiny seed of doubt began to grow. It started with small, seemingly insignificant things. A flicker of curiosity in the Shepherd's eyes, a discrepancy in his teachings, a longing for something more than the sterile existence Nouwat offered. As I grew older, the cracks in Nouwat's carefully constructed facade became impossible to ignore. I began to secretly listen to forbidden radio broadcasts, my heart pounding in my chest as I drank in news from the outside world. The more I learned, the more I realized the extent of the Shepherd's deception. The world outside Nouwat wasn't the dystopian nightmare we'd been led to believe. It was a place of beauty, diversity, and freedom. Section 5. Flight to freedom, planning my escape. The decision to escape Nouwat was the most terrifying and liberating of my life. I knew the risks were enormous. Discovery meant certain and brutal punishment, but the thought of spending another day trapped in that suffocating environment was unbearable. For months, I meticulously planned my escape, hoarding scraps of food and supplies, studying maps, and waiting for the opportune moment. The fear of being caught was ever present, a knot of anxiety in my stomach that never fully untied. Finally, on a moonless night, I made my move. Slipping out of the commune under the cover of darkness, my heart hammered in my chest with every step that took me further away from the clutches of Nouwat. Section 6. Finding my light, lessons learned, and hope for others. Escaping Nouwat was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the most empowering. The world outside was overwhelming at first, a cacophony of sights, sounds, and sensations I'd never experienced before. But with each passing day, I grew stronger, my spirit slowly healing from the wounds of my past. My journey taught me the resilience of the human spirit, the importance of critical thinking, and the transformative power of freedom. To anyone trapped in a cult or any situation of control and manipulation, please know this: you are not alone. There is hope, and there is a way out. Never stop questioning. Never stop fighting for your freedom. The world is waiting for your light.